Happy Saturday, digital family. If you like discussions around entertainment and culture, please like and subscribe to the page. More celebrity interviews and events are definitely on the way. Thanks for coming back to talk about all things Atlanta season 3. We have now arrived at episode 5, which is nowhere near as heavy as the last one we talked about a week ago. There's no talk of reparations or wealth inequalities. And we also got the crew back together minus Vanessa. Now, we're going to get into that a little bit later because I do have some thoughts around Vanessa, some things I think may come to fruition in the future, but we'll see what happens. Even though this episode wasn't as heavy-handed with the social commentary, it still gave us some lightly seasoned moments to hold us off till next time. There's a lot to unpack with this episode. We have some missing items that aren't really missing. We have mysterious motives that reveal shocking behaviors from people. We have unexpected vulnerabilities that bubble to the surface, and the truth is very subjective throughout. Anyway, this time, the crew is in Budapest, preparing for another packed show with Paperboy. You see a much more confident and competent Earn as he's commanding the team and not really missing a beat at all. Totally opposite of what we saw in a previous episode where he told Al that he did not get all the money from the promoter because no one's scared of him because they know he drinks juice. He is now clearly mastered the day-to-day objectives with the tour and managing the needs of a very demanding client. Paperboy has fully embraced his role as an artist while Darius continues to find and create noteworthy moments worthy of future introspection or present introspection. Darius is a vibe. We'll get into that later. After a really, really good show, these gentlemen were well on their way to a successful night of potentially haunted exploration and inebriation when Al's phone comes up missing. A search for this phone becomes the main objective due to it containing some unreleased tracks and some voice notes that hold some sentimental value to Al. As a result, this search basically turns the episode into a really hilarious version of Atlanta Law and Order, where Earn and Al interrogate various individuals about the whereabouts of this phone. It's truly a tennis match of weird untruths and funny happenings as they narrow down the potential suspects to a cancer patient from the meet and greet and a Paperboy fan that is also the nephew of the venue owner. It's hilarious. This hood version of good and bad cop didn't yield a location of the missing phone, but it did uncover other things like Paperboy hasn't really been inspired to write anything in over 6 months and just recently discovered that he was not really hearing his own voice. He was more so hearing someone else's when he was creating. And he finally had discovered that when he had his phone. And that's the reason why it's kind of important. It's on a voice note. The nephew of the venue owner isn't a 19-year-old kid, but a 32-year-old man that obviously has no relationship with his uncle. He also has his own phone while claiming not to have one, and the uncle has his number and was able to actually text him, but then the uncle earlier said he did not have the number. It was just crazy. Socks almost said nigga, called himself the white Liam Neeson, and really made the whole situation more tense than it needed to be while being the one that actually took the phone in the first place. I ain't figured that one out yet. No matter how many times Earn sends a text to Van, checking on her to make sure she's okay, the most she's going to send back to him after 6 days is a thumbs up emoji because she's clearly not feeling him right now. This was a wow ride. But I think that we can conclude that Alfred definitely has had some success, but is now looking back at himself within the art form as he continues his journey as an MC, but he also feels trapped into doing something that he's not really that passionate about because it is profitable. Darius is a whole vibe that continues to just be what it is. Earn is eventually going to be a mogul. We see this. And he needs to make sure that everyone he has, he stays connected with, especially as Al gets deeper into the game. Al was doing a pulse check with him right there to ask him if he was okay. But once again, he wasn't picking up the signals. In terms of Vanessa, and I said I was going to get back to this, and I want to kind of do that. Vanessa wasn't in this episode, but her presence was definitely felt. It was still felt because throughout the whole episode, Earn wrestled with his emotions in terms of her lack of response to his inquiries. As I stated, Van wanted to try to build something with Earn because they do have a daughter, and she does love him. But he clearly isn't ready to give her what she wants. So she's taking time for herself to rebuild and rediscover. But I also feel that there could be some resentment there. Whereas Van in previous episodes wasn't as supportive of him being a rap manager. And now that rap, has really worked out for him and he's kind of achieved a lot of dreams, there could be some feelings of inadequacies and jealousy since her plans haven't really panned out as much. So I feel like she's trying to find her place and deal with earned success in real time. But that does happen to bring out a lot of emotions that could be hard to process at the time. So I'm looking forward to seeing how Van's storyline unfolds and where she eventually ends up. It's just going to be interesting and fun for sure. See you next week. Take care.